Today, we're going to be looking at the Zenith FX Expert Advisor by Mr. Maxim Kurushkin. So this guy is another one of our favorite developers who puts out random history readers on the MQL5 marketplace, and most of his bots have been pretty terrible to date. However, it's always good to give people the benefit of the doubt, and let's see if this one perhaps bucks the trend and is a superb EA. So what we can see is that, once again, people are AI name dropping, where this one supposedly is the next generation of algorithmic architecture engineered for institutional level precision. So apparently it's built on some of the same foundation in some of his previous bots, like the Axion Shift and the Vector Prime. And once again, he's just kind of name dropping a bunch of AI terms from ChatGPT, like neural core, adaptive signal layer, quantum synchronizer. Like realistically, nobody's using quantum computing in an expert advisor. And this is just for people who don't understand the basics of technology and effectively are wowed by impressive terminology. But people must be buying it. So clearly, or else he wouldn't be doing this, because he must be making some money from it. But yeah, so far, like, we're not really seeing anything from the actual page here. It's just saying that essentially it's using supposedly some crazy AI to have a ridiculous backtest, turning 10 grand into $22.5 million within a fairly low period of time. So 5 years, apparently, you're going to make $22 million from this expert advisor because it's somehow using the most advanced quantum technology. So yeah, this is just like, he's not even trying. Like it's very, very fake. And then here we can see that there's a few signal pages. This one's on the dollar yen. I think we're seeing literally a 100% win rate. A Markets could be a real broker. My guess is he's just using an absolutely massive stop loss to avoid any sort of losses there. And here, if we look at the one on the dollar, on gold, this is on WellTrade, which is a very famous scam broker, so probably the signal is being manipulated on this. I'm not so sure if A Markets is Admiral Markets, or let's actually Google that real quick, just to see. Maybe we're able to find something out. Online Brokets, A Markets. Interesting, okay. I'm just trying to see if it's a real broker, or if perhaps they are indeed being a bit sketchy. So it is a Comoros regulated broker. They claim to have been around for 18 years, and it doesn't look that bad. So maybe it is indeed not a fake broker. It's just a very, very huge stop loss, which is causing the signal to look so perfect. Because Comoros is actually one of the better offshore broker restrictions. Like it's kind of like in the same category as Vanuatu, where it's not bad at all. And they also have one in the Cook Islands, so yeah, fair enough. Are they actually licensed? Yeah, Mawali International Services. So it's not like WellTrade. WellTrade is like blatantly fake, because I think it's in the most, like, I don't think they have any sort of jurisdictional control there. So yeah, this broker actually seems kind of legit. So now let's actually hop into MetaTrader. So now we can actually hop into MetaTrader to see how it looks when we run a backtest. And here I ran the backtest on gold on the H1 per suggestions. And as you can see, we're turning $10,000 into around $1.78 million in the span of a year. So definitely not bad performance. And yeah, it appears to be very much a trend following bot. There are slightly more longs than there are shorts. If we move my head up here, really trading with no rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's, well, I guess it is kind of following the trend. It's probably like some sort of basic EMA filter, whereas you can see kind of up here, when markets are going up, we're generally going long. When markets are going down, we're generally going short. But it's too good to be true, right? Like seeing a 94% win rate with a 1 to 2 risk reward, like that's just way too strong of an edge. Here we would expect to see something a little bit in the 70s, maybe 75s, if we had if we had this kind of inverted risk reward. Because usually, like if you have an inverted risk reward, you're gonna beat whatever the break-even risk reward would be, provided you have an edge. So let's say, for instance, if we have a 1 to 2, we would break even at 66%. However, so like assuming it's an inverted risk reward, right? So that means if we had a 70% or a 75%, we would have a system with a tremendous edge, and we would be making a lot of money. But here, because we're having a 95% win rate, not a 75% win rate, the edge is so massive, it's just screaming fake. So yeah, clearly fake. Let's look at some of the inputs here. We see that there's risk control, prop firm guard. There's no place that I can see for an API key, so most likely it's not even using, move my head again, not even using any sort of actual LLM or any sort of AI, because quite frankly you'd need to have an API key for that to work. So yeah, it's very fake. Let's run ourselves now a quick visual backtest. Perhaps we can see something here. Open. Ooh, this is very flashy. Look at that. Usually there's an inverse relationship between how flashy the bot looks when running and how real it is. So this one looks very flashy, but it also looks very, very fake. And yeah, so nothing particularly real here. One thing to note is sometimes with these scam bots, when you backtest it versus when you run it live, the strategy is totally different. So sometimes when you backtest it, it's just like a blatant history reader. However, when you put it live, it's maybe using like an RSI, like crossover or something like a basic indicator strategy. So it can actually have some okay performance kind of when running it live, but it very rarely actually measures up to what one would expect. So guys, this bot is not good. Definitely don't buy it. It's the same guys who come out every so often. They just release a new bot, and it always kind of burns because there's just no real strategy behind it. If you see something that looks too good to be true, turning $10,000 into $25 million or $15 million, it probably is too good to be true. Like, you got to think a bit critically here. And yeah, it's fake, and it's not even a kind of fake one. Like, they're being pretty blatant here. So guys, leave me a comment if you have any thoughts, and I'd love to see you in the next video. Cheers.